Thom Hartmann here on the news. You need to know this. Despite 3 weeks of rioting in the streets, Greek Prime Minister George Papandreou is keeping his job, having narrowly survived a no-confidence vote in the Greek parliament yesterday. The world watched the vote closely as Greece is on the edge of defaulting on its debts and must pass austerity measures like spending cuts and state privatization to receive a bailout from the European Union and the International Monetary Fund. If Greece defaults, it could trigger a financial crisis all across Europe. But the Greek people have expressed outrage at an austerity agenda that targets mostly working-class families, but lets the banksters who caused the financial mess off the hook altogether. An austerity agenda, I might add, that's already been put in place in the UK and is shrinking the British economy. But that's how the IMF does business. If you're not willing to crash your own economy, then the IMF, mostly made up of banksters, will step up and do it for you. After, of course, Goldman Sachs ruins your economy and pays itself billions. Corporations paying their CEOs way too much money and corporations dodging taxes are two issues that are angering a lot of Americans. But when you put them together, you get an even more outrageous result. Last year, 32 corporations spent more money on their CEOs than they spent paying taxes, according to a recent report by an independent research firm. Executive compensation increased by 14% last year, and today, depending on the industry, CEOs make from around 263 times more than their average worker, up from 30 times back in the 1970s, to more than 5,000 times their average worker. And during that same period, corporate taxes have dropped from being more than a fifth of our nation's revenue to less than a tenth. So as our nation is struggling financially, executive paychecks are getting bigger and bigger. It's yet another sign of how unchecked corporate power is ravaging our country and destroying the middle class. In the best of the rest of the news, Michigan Governor Rick Snyder's financial managers will face their first legal test as the Sugar Law Center for Economic and Social Justice filed suit today, arguing that Snyder's financial managers law violates the state's constitution. Earlier this year, Republican Governor Snyder passed a bill that allows him to take over a city in Michigan that's struggling financially, fire all the local officials, and put in place cronies of his own personal choosing, what's called a financial manager, to handle the city's finances. That financial manager has the power to pretty much do anything, voiding union contracts, cutting local government services, even selling off huge chunks of the city, like parks and power plants, to his buddies in private corporations at fire sale prices. As the Sugar Law Center says in a press release about the law, it's a power grab by Lansing politicians ideologically committed to rewarding the private sector at the expense of the common good. It's an attack on the very core of democracy. Republicans like Rick Snyder, Scott Walker, and John Kasich didn't campaign on a pledge to destroy democracy. That's exactly what they're doing, and the nation is suffering from a severe case of voters' remorse. Are we on the verge of seeing a mass extinction in the Earth's oceans? That's what a group of top ocean scientists warned in a new report released this week by the International Program on the State of the Ocean. Because of pollution and global warming, the oceans are losing oxygen and becoming more acidic, threatening to trigger a mass extinction not seen in over 50 million years, when half of all life in the oceans was wiped out. Scientist Daniel LaFalle, and a co-author of the report, said, "We now face losing marine species and entire marine ecosystems, such as coral reefs, within a single generation, and we are also probably the last generation that has enough time to deal with the problem. We all have to realize soon that we can't live above and beyond our environment anymore. If the ocean dies, then we die too." While Republicans in the House of Representatives work to privatize Medicare and screw over senior citizens, Democratic Senator Bernie Sanders is fighting on behalf of senior citizens. He held a Senate committee hearing yesterday and released a 12-page report on the dire situation of many seniors. Currently, there are 5 million senior citizens in America threatened by hunger. That information comes on the heels of another report that showed today people must work until they're in their 80s just to have a chance at retiring. In other words, they basically have to work until they're dead. At some point, the United States went from being a country that took care of its elders to one that's throwing grandma off the cliff. And we can thank the Republican Party and their tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires that have bankrupted our social safety net for it. More trouble for Republican Senator David Vitter, and no, it has nothing to do with prostitutes this time. The watchdog organization Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, also known as CREW, filed a complaint with the Senate Ethics Committee yesterday, alleging that Senator Vitter attempted to bribe the Secretary of Interior, Ken Salazar. Crew points out a letter to Vitter wrote to Salazar last month saying that he would oppose any increase in Salazar's salary as Secretary of the Interior until Salazar opens up the Gulf of Mexico for more drilling that benefits oil corporations in Louisiana, Vitter's home state. In other words, I'll give you more money if you give me what you want. Crew is recommending that the committee refer the complaint to the U.S. Justice Department. Of course, the Justice Department probably still has a file on Vitter from back in the days when he was busted calling for prostitutes from the floor of the Senate. So now can we add bribery to Vitter's rap sheet? Can someone please tell me how this guy still has his job? Oh, now I remember. He's a Republican, and they kind of circle the wagons and protect their own. And that's the way it is today, Wednesday, June 22nd, 2011. I'm Thom Hartmann on the news.